Welcome to the December 6th Rotary Club of Toledo meeting, first one in December. I would like to invite Donna Bogan up and Brad Rubini. If Donna will, you're going to deliver a reflection. And Brad, you can come on up too.
Good afternoon. As we gather today in fellowship, let us remind ourselves of the mission of the Rotary Foundation. It is to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace throughout the improvement of health, the support of education, and the alleviation of poverty. Let us pray. Thank you, O Lord, for the gift of Rotary and one another. May we be ever mindful of those in need. Help us to provide food to the hungry, heal the wounds of hatred with love, comfort those in sorrow, and let us be fair and kind to those in our paths today. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Brad. George, you want to come up? George Eistetter will lead us in the four-way test. Do you want him to stand?
Huh?
Do you want him to stand?
Nah, I don't have to. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I would just further ask all of you that when you leave here today, not to just pass it off or forget about it, but try to live it in every day of your life. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Just because we only do it once every month, just remember that all month long. Would like to thank Spartan Chemical and John Romer for being the December sponsors, meeting sponsors. And if anybody has any guests, would you please go to the floor mic and introduce them?
This is Carol Sabjak. She is an estate planning attorney at Shoemaker, Loop and Kendrick. She is also a past president of the Rotary Club in St. Helena, California.
Welcome, Carol. Brad, I see you have a guest. I know. She's important.
I guess I better apologize to my wife, Julie, here. Thank you for joining me today at Rotary.
Thank you. It's my honor, Brad.
Welcome, Julie. Greg's got a guest.
President Bob, this is Dan Marietta. He's our Director of Business Development. Thought it'd be a good idea to have somebody smarter than me come down here. So he is not
Welcome,
my wife.
Dan. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Just a reminder, there should be some invoices. If you got some dues outstanding, please make sure you get them paid. The holiday party is this Friday, and try to get back to Jackie by tomorrow if you're going to be attending. We just need to get some numbers so we make sure we got enough hors d'oeuvres there. And those who, John Mackay organized getting the bell ringers together for, I think it's going to be at Churchill's this Saturday. And thank you for any of you. If anybody's here that volunteered, please stand. Donna, Murph, Bob Reichert, Cindy, thank you all. Appreciate it. Now, if I could introduce, since it's Foundation Day, our head of our foundation committee is Mary Mancini, and she's going to run the program from here on out. Thanks, Mary.
Good afternoon and welcome to our annual Toledo Rotary Foundation Day program. Today we celebrate the history and the accomplishments of one of our community's oldest philanthropic organizations. Throughout our more than 60-year history, we have contributed millions of dollars and millions of hours of service above self to Northwest Ohio and globally. Today, we will share with you some of the stories of the individuals who have made this history of philanthropy possible. But first, I'd like to acknowledge the trustees of the foundation who are with us today. Vice Chair Brian Kennedy, Secretary Treasurer Mike McIntyre, and trustees past President Joe Tefelsky, who I believe is joining us on Zoom, past President Sharon Skilder, past President Dick Wolf, Jim Lehman, Brent Kuzno, and Dean Neese. Thank you all for what you're doing for the foundation. We're going to begin with the financials of the foundation. Brian Kennedy will present the financials, and questions can be addressed to either Brian or Mike McIntyre.
Fellow Rotarians, I have a relatively short presentation. What we're going to focus on today is our general fund that is being held at the Greater Toledo Community Foundation, and then I'm also be presenting on the most current financial or fiduciary advisory, foundation advisory committee. I need more coffee. So forgive me. So we're going to launch into the foundation's fund. So our general fund at the Greater Toledo Community Foundation, as you'll see on time. So if you look on here, you can see at 9/30/2012, we were hovering at about a $2.3 million balance. And then as you can see the progression going on, part of our presentation later, we'll talk about some of the reasons why we've had such a nice increase. But if you look to the far side on the right, on either screen, our actual foundation, the general fund, is now at $4.6 million. So I would say for this room here, we should be all very thankful as to what we've been able to achieve, both for many different reasons besides just the market itself. I will point to one item. That'll be from approximately right there till the end. So that the reason I wanted to show this graphic as of right now is the next slide that we'll be going to is the Foundation Advisory Committee, the budget. And on that, the first calculation is the 3-year average. So once you look at that presentation there, our next slide here. So you can see as it says the funds available as of 6/30/2021. Our Foundation Advisory Committee, the budget, is based off of a 3-year average. So 12 quarters of activity. You'll see that averages out to $3.6 million. And this is all according to the formula that the committee has used. I believe the minutes were from 2014 that define the calculation steps that we go through. So 5% of that $3.6 million, you'll see that's the $180,000 number. Now forgive me, this budget calculation is divided up into 3 slides. Just kind of focus on that 180 for right now. On the next slide, the next portion of that calculation is the 3-year average of our annual campaign. So that includes all of our unrestricted donations that come into the foundation. You can see that averages to a sum of $247, and then we have the average of $82,000. So when you combine the previous 180, which was the 5% of the 3-year average, and this $82,000, you can see we're at $263,000 that are available for grants. From that number, we have the reduction related to the administrative fee that has currently been calculated out as of last fiscal year, as well as the direct expenses that the foundation itself pays, which you can see sum to $67,000. So at this point, for the current fiscal year, we've got a calculated budget of $196,000 that's available for grants to the local community. That actually is the end of my presentation. We were focusing on those three aspects today, the calculation, two aspects, the calculation as well as our general fund. Did anyone have any questions I might be able to answer in regards to either of those? Seeing none, Mary, if you wouldn't mind joining me back up at the podium.
In 2016, the Toledo Rotary Foundation Legacy League was established to recognize those who have remembered the foundation in their estate plans. Current members of the Legacy League are our guests today and are seated around the room. Today, we can say thank you to these donors. However, over the years, we have received planned gifts from several very generous people who we've never been able to thank. And that is the purpose of our video presentation today. Many thanks to Phil Marissy for doing this, for his creativity in helping us to capture the stories of our mystery philanthropists. Video?
Over 60 years ago, the Rotary Club of Toledo began a tradition that has become a legacy in a league of its own. In that time, the Toledo Rotary Good Fellowship Foundation has transformed itself and the greater Toledo community through millions of dollars of gifts to charitable organizations. Today's Toledo Rotary Foundation is its 501c3 descendant, averaging upward of $200,000 of annual giving to charitable causes. The checks you see presented at Rotary meetings come from the foundation, and this is why we give our time, talent, and treasure. The foundation's funds are under the prudent management of the Greater Toledo Community Foundation. And along with annual gifts from our members and legacy gifts, its total assets are over $4 million.
The Toledo Rotary Foundation allows each one of us to give back, to leave a lasting legacy of what we have.
In 2016, the Toledo Rotary Foundation established the Legacy League, whose members have committed to making a planned gift to the Toledo Rotary Foundation through their estate plan. Significant gifts have already been received from Rotarians who have gone before us, and to memorialize these donors, we're sharing some of the history of the gifts the foundation has already received. Walter Kristen and George Ritter were contemporaries, neighbors in Ottawa Hills, and members of the Rotary Club of Toledo. They formed perpetual trusts, benefiting numerous charities, and one of them is the Toledo Rotary Foundation. In 40-some years, the foundation has received $1.4 million from their trusts, which went directly into our endowment fund.
He was just a giver. I mean, it was just in his blood. I mean, I love his story about his museum.
Walter Kristen was vice president of Fred Kristen & Sons, a roofing and sheet metal contracting firm founded by his father, Fred Kristen Sr. Walter and his wife Betty founded Christie's Warehouse Museum in memory of their son Walter A. Kristen, who died in 1965. The museum housed a collection of Toledo memorabilia that Walter and Betty had collected over a 35-year period. Following his death, the contents of the museum and his home were sold. According to Horton Rorick of Ohio Citizens Bank, the proceeds will provide income for a dozen different charities, one of which is the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation.
The one phrase that has stuck out, and I've read it a couple of times in here, we wanted to remember old Toledo. You know, they wanted to remember old Toledo, and they were collectors before it became fashionable.
George Ritter was an attorney who moved to Toledo just before World War I. Reg Jackson explains that Ritter would play an unknowing hand in the Allied forces' victory in the Second World War.
In 1937, in the throes of the Great Depression, one of George Ritter's clients approached him asking Mr. Ritter if Mr. Ritter could place his business into bankruptcy. George Ritter believed he could save the company but the client afford to pay Mr. Ritter, and in exchange offered 1/4 of the business. The name of Mr. Ritter's client was John Willys. The company was Willys Overland. George Ritter was successful in getting the company reorganized. Then 3 years later, in 1940, Willys Overland was awarded a contract by the government of the United States as it prepared for what we now know to be World War II. The single contract was for the production of a vehicle the government labeled vehicle, general purpose. You know, and the world now knows, its common name was Jeep. During World War II, the Jeep was produced in Toledo by 15,000 full-time employees who manufactured over 600,000 Jeeps. The Jeep was instrumental in victory, and at the conclusion of the war, the Jeeps were left all over the world. Today, Jeep is an American icon worldwide. Then in 1952, Henry Kaiser purchased Willys Overland, and Mr. Ritter's wealth grew. Consider that he owned 1/4 of Willys Overland during the war, and then Kaiser bought Willys Overland.
After the sale of Willys Overland, George and Mary Ritter set up a series of trusts to benefit charitable organizations. The Toledo Rotary Foundation was one of them.
I've met George Ritter once. In fact, I had lunch with him at Rotary. My father introduced me to him, and my father spoke rather reverently of George Ritter growing up, because he had done something that was clearly astounding. He had saved Willys Overland.
Rachel Merrill is an interesting story.
Rachel Merrill became our mystery lady when we received a bequest from her estate in 2017. We immediately thought that since she had died in the year 2000 at the age of 100, it was highly unlikely that she had been a member of Rotary. So next we looked up her husband, George Merrill. Nope, no Rotary membership there. And it took a little bit of sleuthing and calling up the Blades archives for obituaries when I finally found an obituary for Rachel that stated that yes, she had been married to George Merrill, but she was also married to Arthur A. Bacon. And Arthur Bacon was a member of the Rotary Club of Toledo. He was one of the active and oldest bowlers. That was in his obituary. And when he died in 1953, he left his estate, obviously, to his wife. Rachel then, many years later, remarried, and as we all know, lived a very long life. And it wasn't until after her death, and then after the expiration of some trust to others, that we received the first gift from her estate in 2016. The next year, we received another gift, similar in size, from the estate, and it was only at that time that it was stated that this is definitely to be in memory of my husband, Arthur E. Bacon, who was a Toledo Rotarian. So we can trace that gift all the way from 2016 back to 1953. That's pretty amazing.
Here's another interesting story.
Shortly after we received the gift from Rachel Merrill's estate, we received another gift from the estate of Mary Ann Tigas. I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be another mystery lady, but it was much easier to verify. Mary Ann and Kenneth Tigas were had a long-term marriage. And Mr. Tigas, who was a member of the Rotary Club of Toledo, and that's in our archives, died in 1999. Mrs. Tigas, Mary Ann, who was very active in the community, a graduate of Bowling Green State University, a supporter of St. Luke's Hospital, and many other charitable organizations within the city, lived until she was 92 and died in 2017. At that time, right before that time, she made some changes to her estate plan and specifically designated a gift to the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation in the name of her husband, as Kenneth A. Tigas, as a member of the Rotary Club of Toledo. So we are thanking both Mary Ann for directing it and Kenneth Tigas for being a Rotary Club member as well.
And now we come to one of our own. The first Legacy League bequest realized from the passing of one who most of us walked our own Rotary journey with.
Tom was a very steady, quiet influence on people's lives. And there's even some things about him that I didn't even know until I read his obits.
Tom Klein was a member of the Rotary Club of Toledo for more than 30 years. A Paul Harris Fellow and President's Club member, Tom also served as the club's executive director. He was a retired professor from the Business College of the University of Toledo. He believed in supporting organizations which aided people to succeed. A longtime member of the boards of Goodwill and Catholic Charities, he also served in the past on the boards of the University of Dayton, Rotary Club of Toledo, Diocesan Catholic Schools Board, and the Toledo Opera.
His nature was to be quiet about those sort of things. But I knew he was involved, and I knew he took it seriously, as we have. And he didn't like to promote or trumpet anything. He was just content with being in the background and leaving it go at that.
Donors to the Legacy League of the Toledo Rotary Foundation can be assured that their commitment to service above self will continue beyond their lifetime. The principle of a planned gift to the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation is never spent, so a portion of the earnings will always be available for foundation programs. Until now, charitable organizations were unable to thank those who made planned gifts to those organizations in their lifetime. The Toledo Rotary Foundation's Legacy League can and does.
This whole project and memorializing these folks who have been so generous to us has been our way of saying thank you to people we've never had an opportunity to thank. Thank you for your wonderful gift for Rotary. And it really makes me proud to be able to say, thank you, Rachel Merrill, and thank you, Mrs. Tigas.
And thank you, Toledo Rotarians, for all you do for your foundation, your community, your world, and our legacy.
I didn't get up here fast enough. Our current Legacy League members are listed on the screen, so I was going to ask you to join me in a nice Rotary thank you round of applause for our Legacy members. Each year, our foundation's giving formula includes a percentage from the endowment interest. However, the rest of our grant making comes from donations to our annual fund from our members. This year, we are fortunate to have Mr. Rotarian Gary Murphy chairing our annual campaign. And as usual, it's never a dull moment with Murph. Here he is with some exciting news concerning the campaign.
Thank you, Mary. It's always good to work with you, for sure. If I can get this balanced. Well, we have made some great strides already. 5 contributors today, plus Murphy finally cashed in. We got another cash check today. So that'll be 6 people donated today alone. This is good news, but I have additional good news. We have an anonymous donor who is going to match until December 31st anyone who gives $250 for the campaign. So for those of you who have already given $250, it will be matched. There's at least 20 of us now, once they get my check, but probably more. So I encourage you, as you sit around the kitchen table, as we did yesterday, going through all the notes that we had about everyone requesting contributions, that you get at least to the $250 level, if you can, for the Rotary Foundation. The good part about it is you don't have to dig through 15 or 18 or 20 501c3s that you might want to give to. We'll take care of that for you. You just give us the $250. We have committees that will screen all these 501c3s, do a better job than you can probably do on your own, and we'll get the money to the right places. So, we have only 25 days left till December 31st. Please sharpen your pencils if you can. Excuse me. No gift is too small, but if we can get the 250s, we can get them matched. So, support our club and have a happy holiday. Yes?
For people who give monthly, if they get to 250?
If their total gift is at the 250 level, yes.
Yes, Kathy?
If you donate more than 250?
It'll be, no, it'll be matched at 250 level. That's just till 12/31, so 25 days left. Let's go for it. We need the money. You saw from the screen, last year we gave 84, I think we raised 84. I'm looking for at least 80 this year, but if we can break that record, I'd be very happy.
Great. Thanks, Murph. And we will be announcing in special emails all of this information about this match. Yeah, you did. I think I'll take it. Okay, fine. You never know with Murph. So you'll be getting lots of emails regarding and explaining the match and how it's working, and also on our progress. So that's it for Foundation Day for today, and I think we'll turn it back to Bob.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Murph. Thanks to our anonymous donor, whoever you are, appreciate it. And thank you to Phil Marissy for creating that wonderful video. He always does such an amazing job for us. I would like to, before I do some closings, I'd like Chuck Mann to come up. I know he's got a video for us, and as usual, we'll probably get a little laugh out of this. No respect.
Good Lord, woman, the creek don't rise. There's a lot to do in this club. I was taken by the number of things, the number of Rotary things that I've committed to between today and a week from today, which includes this meeting. There's a program committee after this meeting. There is the Christmas party that's coming up. There's the bell ringing that's coming up. And then a week from today, we're back here. It's heartwarming. It's neat to see that much stuff going on. And if you haven't participated in any of these events, the Christmas party, the price is right. Right?
I gotta see this.
You got to see what?
I gotta see what you're doing.
Oh, okay. It's a scary place. You don't want to be around. But bell ringing, I've done that before. I did that at the Andersons, and the person that gave me that gave me the bell, the clapper, which is what the thing is inside, was hanging by a thread. So I went into the Andersons. The only thing I could think of to do was to go to the office department and buy paper clips. So I bought a thing of paper clips and put the clapper back. Otherwise, it would have sounded a lot like this. So that's important, which leads me to today's video. And Professor, if you wouldn't mind. No.
I think this little piece of dialogue is one of the best satires on the kind of dialogue that they used to have and the timing. So here's Jack Webb with Dragnet.
This is the city. Los Angeles, California. Some people rob for pleasure. Some rob because it's there. You never know. My name's Friday. I'm a cop. I was working the day watch out of robbery when I got a call from the Acme School Bell Company. There'd been a robbery. There's been a robbery. Yes, sir? What was it? My clappers. Your clappers? Yeah, you know those things inside a bell that makes them clang? The clangers. That's right, we call them clappers in the business. A clapper caper. What's that? Nothing, sir. Now, can I have the facts? What kind of clappers were stolen on this caper? They were copper clappers. And where were they kept? In the closet? Uh-huh. You have any ideas who might have taken the copper clappers from the closet? Well, just one. I fired a man. He swore he'd get even. What was his name? Claude Cooper. You think he... That's right. I think Claude Cooper copped my copper clappers. Kept in the closet. You know where this Claude Cooper is from? Yeah. Cleveland. That figures. That figures. What makes it worse, they were clean. Clean copper clappers. That's right. Why do you think Cleveland's Claude Cooper would cop your clean copper clappers kept in your closet? Only one reason. What's that? He's a kleptomaniac. Who first discovered the copper clappers were copped? My cleaning woman, Clara Clifford. That figures. Now let me see if I got the facts straight here. Cleaning woman Clara Clifford discovered your clean copper clappers kept in a closet were copped by Claude Cooper, the kleptomaniac from Cleveland. Now, is that about it? One other thing. What's that? If I ever catch kleptomaniac Claude Cooper from Cleveland who copped my clean copper clappers from kept in the closet, yes, I'll clobber him.
Thanks, Chuck. I always thought that was the clapper. Made the lights go on, I'm waiting. Our next meeting will be right here at the Toledo Club on December 13th, and we'll be joined by TARDA CEO Laura Kaprowski. And again, don't forget to get a hold of Jackie for the holiday party. Thank you for coming, Carol, Julie, and Dan. And we have two committee meetings today. We've got the program committee right after this in the boardroom on the fourth floor here. And the admin fee meeting will be in the Ivy Room, also on this floor. So hope you had a little fun doing some fellowship at the start of this. Maybe we'll do that again and try to get to know each other. Have a great day. We're adjourned.